Welcome to the Austin Clubhouse TV special episode with our new staff journalist, Ashley. How are you feeling today?
I'm a little nervous because I haven't been filmed in many years, but I'm excited to talk with you today in front of this orchid.
Oh, that's a beautiful orchid. I love it. Yeah, sweet. Yeah, so so folks get to know, actually, we both started right around the same time. So I'm a member, and I think it was like in the first week that I was here about a month ago, you got started.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that was super cool. And I'm wondering, like when you were looking through job searches and stuff, you saw Austin Clubhouse. Like, what made you say, "Ooh, I'm gonna apply there"?
So what I was first drawn to with Austin Clubhouse is the community aspect. I think that the community is really helpful for anyone's healing journey, especially for me on my own healing journey, like being surrounded by people, feeling accepted, supported, loved, a sense of belonging. Like that's just incredibly important for anyone, but especially if you're struggling.
I like that you emphasize like the community aspect of it. Have you experienced that in like other jobs or workplaces before? Or?
Yeah, so I had a really strong community my last couple positions because I've predominantly worked at therapeutic programs or residential treatment centers. And when you're working really long hours or through kind of like moments of crisis, that's a type of bonding that you don't really experience elsewhere. So coworkers really start to feel more like family members because they've seen you at your worst, they've seen you go through really hard times, and they've supported you when you've succeeded. And they help you brainstorm through things, and yeah, it's just going through all those different cycles of employment, especially in like a really hard workplace, can just be like the ultimate bonding experience. So there's the community aspect not only with employees in that regard, but also a community aspect with the clients or members. Because they're growing and healing every day and you're with them and it's a personal relationship. So there's a community aspect in that regard too.
That's really cool. Yeah, I had kind of a similar experience when I was working in restaurants as a server. I mean, as a manager, and trying to help people work through things and be okay. But the answer here is not to just fire people. It's like we're human and we can work through this together and we're a team and we can grow and develop and you get to know people in a different kind of way, and it can be a different kind of relationship from what you've had before. So that's really cool. What have you enjoyed about working at the clubhouse so far? Like, what's some of your favorite stuff?
So obviously the community aspect. Mm-hmm. I love that members, especially like you and Zach, started at the same time as me. So we're really learning about the clubhouse together, and you can train me on the things that you've learned so far that I haven't gotten to because I'm always in the vitality unit.
Right.
So I actually need your help with some things. I need more information and training on reach out and Salesforce. So I really like that, but then I also love, obviously everyone that I work with, J Dubs, JM, Taylor, Amber, Sharon, Holly, literally love all of them. I love this location. I love our garden. Scott showed me the garden actually on my first day, and I was like, wow, this is huge. And we were able to harvest from it, the first or second week.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. The cauliflower and the green beans, and we had okra before at one point too, and I'm super excited about this grant we just got to rejuvenate the garden. That's gonna be so fun.
Staying bothered.
Staying Bothered is the name of the organization. I got a free T-shirt out of that. Not that I need more T-shirts, but that happened. I am wondering though, so you talked about how you've enjoyed the community aspect once you got into the mental health field, but what got you into the mental health field in the first place?
Very good question. So previously I was kind of more interested in education, but I didn't want to work in a classroom, and I knew that very strongly something about it, don't like structured curriculum, don't want to be indoors. And so that kind of led me into this field that's pretty niche. It's called wilderness therapy. Mm-hmm. So you're backpacking with kids I worked a week on and I had a week off. The kiddos are out there for 3 months at a time. And the whole point of that is basically learning wants versus needs, backcountry living, working through everything as a team, and literally you have to do everything together all the time, including building a fire, cooking your dinner, getting camp set up, getting camp broken down, helping in the next place. And so yeah, what I liked so much about that was getting to like help kids basically work through it side by side. And I kind of learned that that's really what I like. I like the side by side nature. I like being hands on, working through things together. Yeah, so that's kind of like how I got drawn to mental health, because it's not education. It is education in its own right, but it's not like school.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, you know, the term education, like, I think, particularly in the United States, if you just ask the question, like, what is education? Like, I think we all know that it's important, but, like, I don't think a lot of us haven't sat down and, like, actually asked the question, like, why is it important? What is it really? And I think maybe there is, and so, like, that's something that I know I thought a lot about, and to me, I thought, like, okay, ideally, maybe one way to put it would be to empower every individual to become the best version of themselves.
Yeah, to kind of like stay inspired and like keep that curiosity alive and just keep growing.
Yeah, it's kind of like a journey, and I like this concept of wilderness therapy. Like, there's talk therapy is not the only kind of therapy. It's something I've been wanting to learn more and more about what are the other kinds of therapy? What are we missing out on? What other ways could we approach things? And I think Clubhouse is its own kind of therapy. It's about the process, not the product.
Yes.
This like side-by-side work. You find meaning in the work itself as part of your rehabilitation process with others. I think that that's really powerful. But yeah, so you're talking about like you're being hands-on, and so obviously, as you kind of already pointed to, you're a vitality generalist. And so our vitality units, like, in the kitchen, in the snack bar, and the garden, and the more hands-on stuff. So you're in there cooking lunch every day. So I've got to enjoy some fantastic meals of yours today. We had chicken satay. It was delicious. Tomorrow, I can't wait. We're doing French toast for dinner.
Breakfast for dinner.
Woo! We're gonna watch Breakfast Club. But what are some of the dishes that you really like to cook? What's some of the stuff that you really like?
So at home, I'm not as much of a cook. I'm more of a baker. In my family, there's a really traditional cake that we make. It's called a Harvey Wallbanger. We make it for every like Father's Day and birthday. So that's definitely one thing. And then, yeah, I just try to kind of like keep it creative, and I have to work with what's in my kitchen every week. So there's a like spicy maple chicken that I really like to make, and I'm just all about the veggies. So like as many veggies as I can throw in a meal, just more veg.
Yeah, for sure. I remember I used to be very anti-veggie, and then when I figured out as an adult that, oh wait, you don't just need to like eat raw broccoli, you can like cook it and put it in things and mix it with other stuff. And it's like, oh, then it's like you can actually like develop a palate. So totally with you, definitely trying to embrace the veggies. But so okay, so you cook here, you like making it at home. Like, what other kinds of like hobbies do you have, or what are the things you like to do with your time?
So I love live music, and that's actually why I'm here in Austin.
Yeah.
I was living in Hawaii, very rural area. There were no live shows ever. Did that for about 3 years, and I noticed, hey, something's missing in my life. So I love live shows. I love concerts. I love going to like kind of like smaller music festivals. Love kayaking and hiking. Not sea kayaking. That is pretty important there to note. Open water, very scary. Don't like the idea of being in the same body of water as a whale.
Okay.
But I do like lakes and rivers. That's fine. Whitewater rafting, also very fun.
Yeah, cool. So you said you were used to be in Hawaii. That's quite intriguing. Tell us more about that. What was your experience in Hawaii, or how did that all evolve?
Yeah, so I actually got recommended to that program from the wilderness therapy program I was working at in North Carolina. So my clinical director was like, hey, I bet you would really like this program. I'll recommend you. You can go out there, see if you like it. Ended up, I loved it. It was great. It's horticultural therapy, so it's using the garden as a metaphor for healing, but also hands-on healing. Like just being in the garden every day is incredibly good for you. Just having your hands in the soil, watering the garden is incredibly nurturing for you. and eating the food that you grow, incorporating it into your meals. So that's something that I'm really happy that I get to continue to do here.
Yes. Yeah, well, yeah, that's so cool, because now you mentioned this chair is very squeaky. I'm going to switch chairs real quick here. So you've mentioned wilderness therapy, you've mentioned horticultural therapy. I mean, like, you know, so obviously you're working with others and stuff, and those were paid positions, but like, what are some self-care things that you like to do for yourself?
Yeah, super great important. Self-care is extremely important. Please make sure you're taking care of yourself every day. It is not something that you can put off. Literally, it's like physical exercise. If you don't do it, you kind of like get out of shape, and it takes way more work to kind of right yourself again.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I'm really into hot yoga.
Ooh.
It's very hot. It's like over 100 degrees. But one of the reasons I really like hot yoga is you can't let your mind wander. Like, you are so present in the moment because it's so hot, you can't focus on anything else. But no, it feels really good to me. It's a daily practice. I go every day at 7:30. Love it. It's so much fun. And I also have a meditation book that I read alongside my yoga practice. So it's actually a spiritual book, and it kind of reflects things that you learn doing yoga that you can apply to your life, both in just like a practical way, but also like on a spiritual journey.
That's so cool. Yeah, so we just had a new member today who did a tour, and they was it? No. It was somebody I talked to on the phone. I was doing reach out, and they were like, "You ever gonna do yoga classes?" And I was like, "I don't know if we have anybody who knows yoga, but that sounds like a cool idea." But now, maybe, I mean, I don't know if we're ready to do hot yoga here, but it's something a little bit more tame. It'd be super cool if you like led a yoga class like a social night or something.
That would be really fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've worked a lot with others on their mental health. We've been talking about that. Obviously, mental health is an important part of Clubhouse. But what do you, with Clubhouse specifically, how do you think Clubhouse is a valuable asset for addressing your mental health in Austin?
Yeah, definitely. Everything comes back to community for me. It's a community that works. It's literally the slogan, but it also is exactly what we are. Community is so important for that feeling, like I said, of well-being, for belonging, being welcome. And that's actually part of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So you need to feel connected, and you need to feel a sense of belonging in order to like continue to be your best self. So I think that's actually why this works. That's why it is a community that works, because it is in fact a community.
Yeah, and you know, like on that community aspect, I mean, like, you know, it's this wonderful thing, but like, you have to form it too. So like, what are some of the ways that you bond and connect with people?
So my love language is quality time. So if I want to bond with anyone, it's like, let me get you in the kitchen so we can spend some time together. Let's go to the grocery store together. Let's go deadhead some plants together in the garden. Let's go water the garden. Let's go do something together, because I really bond when we're kind of coexisting, co-creating, doing something together, and we're having genuine, real connection. We're having that conversation. It's quality time.
I'm wondering, because it was so you use the term, it's your love language. And
Yeah.
You said it so definitively, like, this is it, like, this is it. And I'm wondering how I'd love to know a little bit more about your journey to getting to that point where like you're just like, yeah, this is how I do it. This is how I operate. How did you discover that about yourself?
So there are 5, and I don't know if I can list them off all in one go, but I know that words of affirmation are very important to me. I love to acknowledge others, so that's one way that I express love, is through words of affirmation. Quality time is how I receive it the most, so I feel loved when I spend quality time with others. Gifts, not really so much my thing unless it's like super relevant. Like if it's just something that is such an Ashley gift, and I can see that you put your heart into like figuring out this gift, then it'll mean something.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, what are the other ones? Acts of service, physical touch. Those are the other ones.
Okay.
Not physical touch is like not my thing.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, that's super cool getting to know you. I think that was great. Is there anything else that you want to talk about, or?
Not really. I just really appreciate you taking the time to get to know me. Normally, I feel like I'm always so interested in the members and what's going on in their life that I don't really talk about myself that much. So that was cool.
Yeah, it's so funny. You know, we all love talking about ourselves until we're asked to. And then we're like, wait, how do I do this? I don't even know what do I say. So, yeah, no, I totally get it. Well, thanks again. Appreciate it. Hopefully, y'all like and subscribe. Hit that bell so you get notifications every time video goes live so you see us. But, yeah, this is Ashley and myself, Sass, at the Austin Clubhouse.